What's up, everybody? Brett Okamoto from ESPN, and I have the pleasure of being joined by the Sugar Show, Sugar Sean O'Malley, who, of course, is getting ready for a big fight against Cheeto Vera at UFC 252 this coming Saturday here in Las Vegas. And Sean, thank you for taking the time to join me. I've been trying to keep up a little bit with your Instagram. It looks like, first of all, where you're training, it didn't look familiar to me. Is that because of the COVID situation? Have you had to sort of move your training around a little bit?
Yeah, it actually was nice that this happened. Otherwise, this might not have worked out so nicely. I've always wanted a cage. It's just something you want. If you play basketball, you want a basketball court. But I've always wanted a cage. So, the lab, there was a couple guys that tested positive. There was a couple other gyms around Phoenix, and they were all kind of getting shut down. So I found a cage in Vegas, flew out a couple buddies. They packed it up, got a U-Haul, drove it down, and we set up in the back of our podcast studio. The guy at Highway 85 said, we're like, hey, do you know anyone that has some extra space? And he's like, I'll clear out the back. Let's throw it back there. So
Really?
we've just been training there. It's been nice.
Huh. Who did you buy it from here in Vegas? Where'd you find that?
Is
it hard to find?
It was on eBay. It was a Roy Jones. It was at a boxing gym, Roy Jones boxing gym, and they're like, we're getting rid of the cage and get another boxing gym, and got it at a really good price.
Dude, you were the king at these bidding websites, the Moped on Craigslist and the now the Octagon and on eBay. Yep. I mean, you just buy everything from eBay and Craigslist. Deals to be had out there, right?
Those are probably like the only two things I have bought. No, Tim's actually the one. He's always on Craigslist, always on OfferUp, looking for something to wheel and deal. But no, I had one of my sponsors, Sandoval, the CEO, Emron. I asked him, I said, hey, will you help me find a cage? And he ended up finding that one and kind of helped me work it out so I didn't have to deal with it too much, and I can focus on training. And I just had to, pay out whoever to get it down here and get it set up.
How are you doing with training partners? You just mentioned like the COVID situation at the lab and all that. Have you been able to kind of surround yourself with normal training partners, or has that been a challenge with this one?
It was nice because Cheeto's not he's really good, but he's not wild. He's not hard to emulate. He's really good at what he does, but he's not super hard to emulate. So my buddy Tommy, my buddy Ivan, guys from Ivan trains at the MMA Lodge. Tommy trains at Fight Ready. And I hit him up. I said, hey, guys, would you mind not going to those gyms, and just training with me for this fight camp? And, they're young up-and-comers. They're like, hell yeah, that sounds awesome. So been really lucky having those two main training partners, then grappling with Tim and Tanquino still, and then doing my strength and conditioning with my coach Brandon. So this training camp, it's perfect. There's nothing I could have done better so far. You know what I mean?
And you said that he's not, I can't remember exactly what you said, but he does what he does well, right? What does Cheeto do well? Because a lot of people, I think, are making the point about this fight that, hey, this isn't a top 15 guy, this isn't a top 10 guy, but this is a little bit of a step up from what you faced so far. And I think you've acknowledged that. Why is that? What does Cheeto bring to the table that you haven't faced yet in the UFC?
Yeah, he's a black belt jiu-jitsu, super tough, hasn't been finished. I think I seen a stat he's like 10 UFC wins or something like that. Is that right? Could be making that up, but I think I saw that. He beat Song Yadong last fight. He's on a 6-fight win streak, 5 finishes. Rankings don't mean nothing. They just don't. Realistically, it doesn't matter. I'm better than. I feel like I could be number 1. I could be the champ. I'm not ranked I'm ranked 15 or whatever. So rankings don't really mean too much, at least from my perspective, from fans' perspectives. They say, oh, you're not even fighting someone ranked. But I give Cheeto a lot of credit and a lot of respect that he's up there. He's definitely top 15 in the world, in my eyes. So I think this is the perfect next fight for me.
Well, if you could put yourself in his shoes for a little bit, how do you think that he's thinking he's going to beat you? I mean, because you have looked very, very good so far in the UFC, and I think a lot of people are familiar with your style. To anyone who's maybe not as familiar with his style, what are you expecting him to try and beat you with on Saturday?
I think he's going to do what Jose was supposed to do, or what he was trying to do. I don't know if Eddie was going to try to take me down. Going into that fight, I figured he's not a wrestler. He's not going to – if you're not a good wrestler, I don't think you're going to be able to take me down. I have really good footwork. I have really good wrestling defense. And I have a really good guillotine and a lot of good chokes. So I feel like it's going to be hard to take me down and get into a dominant position unless you've been have that high school wrestling, that college wrestling, that grind mentality. I didn't think Eddie was going to do that. I thought Jose Quinones was going to do that. But he just didn't get the opportunity to. I think Cheeto's going to try to – he has this weird little clinch that he likes to do that he'll do in the open. If someone overextends on a punch, he'll try to get him in that clinch. And he's going to try to push me up against the fence, and he has some nice trips up against the fence. I think he's going to – he's definitely not – his game plan can't be to strike with me. Like, going into this fight, his game plan cannot be, I'm just going to strike with him. That just doesn't make sense. That wouldn't make sense for him. And I think he's a little bit smarter than that. So his game plan is going to put me against the fence. We're in a smaller octagon, and he's going to try his little trip that he does that he's pretty good at and win the fight like that.
In a weird way, are you almost looking forward to the first time you get taken down, because then we can see some of this jiu-jitsu that you've been talking about? I mean, I know that because you're such a talented striker, I'm sure you'll try to defend any takedown. But are you almost, in a weird way, looking forward to the first time you go down?
I just look at it all as a fight. I think for me, obviously, I'm going to try to, like you said, try to avoid the takedown and keep it standing and outstrike him. And if he can't take me down, I'm going to knock him out. 15 minutes to knock him out if he can't take me down. But if he does take me down, I think it will open a lot more of the casual fans' eyes, I think if you're really hardcore into the sport and if you follow me, you've watched my quintet matches. And you see I trained with like Tanquino. I trained with Augusto Mendez. I trained with some good guys. Even at the lab, I haven't been able to train at the lab the last 2 months, but the last 7 years or whatever, I was over there training when they have really good guys. So I think I'll surprise more of the casual guys. Oh, he's not literally just a striker. He's well rounded. I think the more the hardcore guys, the more the MMA analysis kind of guys see that, but I'm not – if it goes to the ground, I'm going to try to get back up. I'm going to play my guard. I'm going to get back up, or I'm going to try to, submit him off my back. So wherever the fight goes, I'm pretty confident. Obviously, I'm going to try to keep it standing. I really enjoy knocking people out. It's a lot different without the fans there. It's tough. It's like – it's different without the fans there. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much you can do about that, but are you surprised by that? Are you surprised by how much you miss it? Because, I mean, I've talked to you after a couple of those fights, and I think you're just so much in the zone on fight night that you don't realize it. But is that something that you kind of realize, like, after the fact? Like, is that when you notice that the fans are gone?
Yeah, rewatching my Jose Quinones fight and I watched it on YouTube from, like, a fan's perspective up in the stands, and just seeing the fans erupt when I dropped Jose. I dropped Eddie in a way more vicious, gnarly, more exciting, explosive way that I feel like rewatching that fight isn't the same. It would be way more enjoyable to rewatch it and watch the crowd go wild. And then I watched that Michael Jordan documentary, The Last Dance, and just seeing how excited those fans get when someone makes a game-winning shot. And I just picture myself in those situations dropping someone. And it sucks that I feel like I'm getting robbed of that moment in a way. But also I know a million people or whatever people are watching at home. And I told everyone, record your reaction. I want to watch it. I've watched every single one I could find of people's reactions when I knocked out Eddie. It makes it kind of feel like they're there with us. So, but yeah, I definitely miss it.
Where do you think that ranks? And I know you can only speak for yourself, but we talk about, I talk to fighters all the time about like what motivates them, and they want to be the best. And, and oftentimes it comes up when you're talking to a fighter about retiring and like, what's hard to walk away from, the competition, the money, of course, but like what you're referring to, like the glory and like that feeling of a sellout crowd going crazy for something that you do. Where do you think that ranks in terms of just like why guys do this sport and how hard it is for them to walk away from it?
Yeah, it's just I feel like I'm pretty good, and I think you could see that in my post-fight interviews right after the fight of bringing myself back down to a low level of not getting super high in the moment, just freaking out. I'm pretty good at avoiding that, still letting myself feel those emotions and being extremely happy, but not just like freaking out. I'm gonna definitely miss those moments, but yeah, I'm sure that moment can bring a lot of fighters out of retirement or not let them retire. I hope I don't have to. I'm sure I'm gonna have to deal with something like that eventually, but I think that probably does play a role into it.
What do you think this fight, like, where are we at in your career, you know? And I'll use Conor McGregor as like sort of an analogy here. And like you and I have spoke before, and you've said that you want to be as big as Conor, you want to be bigger, you want to be more famous, you want to make more money than he has. And so I'll use his as an example. When he was coming up and his career was building, like every fight made sense. It all was in a direction, you know. It wasn't just kind of wherever. It was Dublin, you know, and then it was Dustin Poirier on a main card, and then it was you know, Dennis Seaver, and what a lot of people thought was like a fight that make him look really good, and Jose Aldo sitting there in the front row. You know, where are we at in your career, do you think? Like, what chapter are we in here?
Yeah, what are we, 5 fights into my UFC career? I enjoy fighting 3-4 times a year. And I think it's like kind of like what Dana was saying, like once I beat Cody, it's like, who do I fight next? I only have a certain amount of people I can fight next after Cody. So it's, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think it's going to be hard not to give me someone in the top 5 after I knock out Cheeto. It's going to be, they're going to see my skill level is legitimate. And the fans are going to demand to see me fight one of these next top guys. So you got to, after this fight, you got to give what the fans want. And I think everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And you said Cody there. You said after I fight Cody. Is that sort of in your mind potentially your next fight after you beat Cheeto?
I think it makes sense. It totally depends. I know there's so much that happened during fights. He might get booked in a couple months. He might, you know, obviously drop down to 25 and fight Figueiredo. So we'll see. I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, if it plays out perfect in my mind, I knock out Cheeto, I knock out Cody, then we'll see what's next. But we'll see.
Do you think? Because I know you just signed a new deal. You signed a new contract, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that that has any impact on sort of the decisions that are made? Like, I mean, oftentimes in this sport, when you get a contract, you get a raise, then it's like that also is like another reason to like put you on more of a fast track. Like, we're paying you more now, we got to put you in these bigger fights. Like, do you think that by signing that contract, that also kind of accelerates things a little bit?
Maybe, probably not. I think the performance is what's gonna fast track me is just what I'm doing. You can't deny me after I go. I mean, it depends who you're talking. Like, I don't know. You look at Jose Quinones and then you look at Eddie and you say, okay, these guys aren't top dudes. Let's have you fight some. I think Cheeto's that next step. I think Cheeto's that guy that's, like I said, he's pretty good everywhere. He's a decent striker. He's got good jiu-jitsu. He's got a couple little trips for wrestling, but I don't necessarily think Cody's a fast track fight. I think it is in as far as he was the champ, but he beat Dominic Cruz, and then, you know, he got knocked out, and then he got knocked out, and then he got knocked out, and then he closed his eyes, threw a right hand, knocked someone out. But I don't necessarily think that's a fast track. Like, oh, you see fighting Cody next? Like, at least not in my eyes. Maybe in the fans' eyes, like, oh, I don't know. He used to be champ. Like, in my eyes, it's just like a little dude that has decent boxing. He's decent. So I don't necessarily think, oh, wow, they're fast tracking. I got to fight. As far as skill wise, maybe popularity and ranking, it's a fast track up to Cody. But as far as skill wise, I don't think he's that much better than Cheeto.
I think it's so funny that all of a sudden you and Cody have this thing going on, because there was nothing prior to you both fighting on the same card at UFC 250, right? And then you both had great performances, and then it almost just became like a battle of which performance was more impressive. Is that sort of like, that's a weird way for a beef to start, but is that it? I mean, is that sort of where this thing started?
Kinda. I've always kind of had my eye on Cody. He's someone that gets mad easily. You know what I mean? I enjoy it. I've been talking to my brothers and my friends since I was young. I've been competing my entire life, and I've always been in talking and kind of stirring the pot. And it's just, I mean, when it's that easy, it's just fun. I enjoy it. Like, I don't lose sleep over it. I feel like I am in his head. I think, you know, he's probably annoyed getting asked every time he does anything. It's like, I'm sure it bugs him, but I enjoy it. And I think it's going to be a big fight someday, whether it's next or it's the UFC holds it off and says, no, let's build this and hope they keep both winning, because we both have to keep winning to meet.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see where it is. I think someday for sure we're going to end up fighting, and it'll be sweet.
Just out of curiosity, I can't imagine that you put a lot of thought into this, but do you ever, like, especially someone like you who has like made it very clear and has no problem talking about, like, I want to be a superstar, like those are my goals, like I have set my goals at the very highest level, and like I'm always looking forward to, like, you're not one of those guys who have like a real big problem talking about what's next. I mean, you're focused on what's current, but you don't mind talking about what's next. Like, do you think Cody could be your rival, or like do you look around and like see like who could you potentially have a rivalry
I'm trying to
with?
get lots of rivals. It takes two stars to make a big fight. It takes, you know what I mean? I'm trying to, the more rivals I have, the better in this sport. You know, I got Henry's an option. I'll bring his little butt out of retirement. Cody's an option. Peter, all these guys are talking about me. So they're all potential big fights.
You know, if this next fight is sort of the one before the big one, because I like the way I look at it is whether it's Cody or not next, if you beat Cheeto and you look really good doing it, that to me is almost like I was talking about earlier, your career trajectory. Like, to me, you're like a main event at that point, you know, a 5-round fight. And that's when like the UFC really gets behind you, the ESPN promotional push, like everything really starts to push a little bit. And you and I had a pretty interesting conversation about this when I was in Arizona at the beginning of the year. And that's just like, you think about that much? Like this could be maybe like the last fight camp before like you can no longer go to a coffee shop without getting recognized a lot, or, you know, you can't walk around.
I've been there. I feel like pretty much every time I go out in public, that's kind of how it already is. But I think this is the big fight. I think that I've been, in my mind, in this whole training camp and in my team's mind, that is this fight. That is the co-main event of a legendary card, Stipe DC trilogy. I think that this fight is that next fight. That's the next fight that's really going to be like, that's going to, you know, rocket ship me out of here. But I think it's this fight, and I got to go out there and perform.
Mm-hmm. Well, how do you feel about like the fame that's about to come? Because I just think that's always a trippy thing to me, is when I talk to guys and it's like, you win this fight and have a great performance. I mean, you're already famous, you know, but I mean, you could take it to a really another level. Have you really given it much thought to how your life would change just from a standpoint of like being famous?
Yeah, I can't imagine it changing too much. I've always had the same pretty small group of friends, same group of training partners. And I want to be a legend. I want to win the belt and defend the belt, and you know, potentially move up and fight at 45. And I'm 25 years old, so I have a long time, a lot of training left. And if my life changes to where I'm not training as much as I have been, I moved to Phoenix when I was 19, and when I was 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, nothing's changed by just being consistent in the gym, getting better. And that can't change. So my life can't change much. I don't have time for my life to change. I need to be training in the morning. I need to be training in the afternoon, because the ultimate goal is to be the legend, to be remembered forever. And for whatever reason, you could say, why do you want to be remembered forever? Why do you want to be? I don't know. That's just what's driving me right now, and that's what's been motivating me since I started fighting. And I don't have any lack of motivation, or it's just what's driving me. So I think as far as becoming more famous, nothing changes. Right now I'm looking for a house with some land, and I want to put the sugar factory up, kind of like Rob Dyrdek's Fantasy Factory. I got my cage already. I would love to have some, you know, a basketball court in there and a foam pit and stuff like that. And I could just live there and train twice a day, and life's good there. So I don't want to travel too much, because that takes away from training. So I don't think too much will change.
Well, you're looking for that house right now with the land?
Yeah, we after each fight, I keep saying, all right, we're gonna move, and then we get another fight camp. And then I fight Eddie. It's like, all right, let's move. After I fight Eddie, we'll get a house and move. And then I got in fight camp. So after this fight, hopefully we're looking right now, and hopefully we can find the right one and get into it. But similar location, still in Phoenix, and still doing the same stuff.
What about the last time when I was out there in Arizona, just the money aspect of it? I mean, do you have expensive tastes when you start to make a whole lot of money? What do you think do you have plans for that money?
Yeah, I feel like I've made a good amount of money. Like even this year I've made, I've had got both bonuses. My jersey sold out in 39 seconds. There's definitely a lot of money coming in, but I got rid of my Subaru. I drive my 2006 Nissan Altima. Insurance is like $60 for half a year or the year or whatever. The tags, the plates are cheap. I paid off my slingshot. I have no bills. I have my house payment and the bills that come with the house. I have no bills. It's nice. It can pay my dad to help me, do stuff, do emails, stuff like that. I can pay Danny to do, help me in camp. Like I can pay my coaches and stuff. And I have no bills, and I want to buy a house cash. That would be ideal. Pay it off and not have any bills really. So that's kind of right now just saving all the money possible and getting a house and then working on that sugar factory. That's not going to be probably very cheap, but I think it'll be worth it.
That Nissan Altima, that's the car that you drove from Montana to Arizona, right?
Yeah, that's and she's still kicking. So
you driving that just to save money or for nostalgia? I mean, it kind of keeps you grounded driving that car.
I enjoy driving. I get in there, it brings back a lot of memories. Like I've had that car since I was an amateur, so it is pretty cool getting in there and driving, and it drives fine. But I'm also not, if there's someone I'm potentially talking to someone in Phoenix about a car sponsorship. So I can't see myself buying a car, but if someone wants me to drive one for a couple trades on social media, there's no reason I'm not driving a Tesla or something.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, definitely driving that Nissan to save money. Buying a brand new car is the dumbest thing you can buy. So
what do you think? Do you think? I mean, you were just talking about going from one fight camp to the next. I know it depends on sort of what gets offered to you, but you think that there might be a little bit of a break after this one, because this is your third fight of 2020 already.
Yeah, this fight, it's hard for me. Even after or before Jose, they're like, what's next? I'm like, I don't know. I could break my foot. I could get knocked out. I don't know what's next. So it's hard to say what's next. But if the fight's going the way it is, if it's going how they have been going, first round knockouts, which, I very well could see this fight going a similar way. I wouldn't mind. It depends. Like I said, if the opponent's right, getting in there, maybe early October, or, I think early October sounds nice. I'm in really, really good shape right now. I've back-to-back camps, and I never stopped training. That next Monday was like, all right, what's next? I'm going to talk to my strength and conditioning coach. Let's ease back into it. Nothing crazy. Let's maintain my shape. We don't have to kill it right now. We don't have a fight coming up. So just maintaining that shape I was already in and doing my jiu-jitsu. And then once we got the fight booked, amped everything up. So, I'm back-to-back camps, and now we're in this one. So I'm ready to go after. If this fight goes as planned, I don't see there being a reason I don't fight early October.
What's the closest thing you've ever felt to becoming a little bit burned out? It doesn't sound like anything near it, but there's got to be days, right, that it's just tough. I mean, what is the closest thing you feel to just being like, oh no, I need a break from this?
That's what training camp is. Training camp is, I'm going to train hard twice Monday. I'm going to train hard twice Tuesday. Even like right now, I'm 4 practices deep into the week, and I'm pretty burnt out, tired right now. But the thing about training camp is you got to know when to hold back a little bit, when to take time off. But if you're eating perfect and you're sleeping good and you're recovering good, I have my cold plunge, my hot tub, I stretch, my sauna. I'm doing all these things to where I'm super burnt out and tired, but my body it's healthy. I'm not going to get injured going to the gym tomorrow and training hard because my body's healthy. I don't have any injuries. My mind's pretty tired. I'm tired from training consistently. But that's what training camp is, and that's how you get in the shape you need to get in. to be able to go 15 minutes. And Cheeto's never been finished. I'm not going in this fight with 5 minutes of gas trying to knock him out. I'm going in this fight 15 minutes in shape, ready to go to war, ready to die in there. Like Izzy said in that one fight. I always remembered that. That's the mindset you need to have going into these fights.
Well, we'll let you go, man. We appreciate the time. I'm sure you are tired with the training camp. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me as always, dude. Safe travels to Vegas. And yeah, I love the idea of having fans send you their reactions to the fight. So get those.
Me too.
And then post those on Saturday because those are fun for all of us to watch.
Hell yeah.
All right,
awesome.
Man.
Thank you, Brett. Appreciate you.
Take care, Sean.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.